Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, I sort of like got the sign that maybe the video will be useful, and I said okay, but like, I'm only speaking right now out of fear of pain. But maybe there won't be. Maybe by telling you this, it'll help with what we're doing. You see, part of the reason that people like me seem like often mean or something, you see, to tell people about, let's say, for example, like they say, oh, you were living in New Orleans, like when Katrina happened, like how, and to tell all the awful things that happen to people during that event. Okay, in other words, what exists in our country is this. There are people who aren't interested. Like if you were to try and appeal to them to say does something terrible happen and like tell them about the different terrible things, they're not interested in hearing anything about things like that. So you wouldn't, you'd be wasting your time to tell the different things to see if you could make a person who was like uninterested in such things interested. But at the same time, we have another problem, which is that there are people who are by the way in which they're is it I don't like either of these what appear to be not political but actually emotional psychological types, one of whom is actually, like, for example, to the extent that I'm sensitive about certain things and kind of other things aren't on my mind. You think that there are people who are like there's this liberal conservative thing going on, and both of them are people that I don't really want near me. I mean, it was I don't want them coming near me. It was they make me feel rage. It was I don't part of them perceives that, like, for that no one is the part of it's they're two emotional psychological categories or personality types is what it is, and the very fact that that's the political lines along which people have split means that reality is absent, because I'm saying that's not a proper, the very fact that it divides out that way, that is so sick. Like, in other words, like, I mean, these issues of helping the poor and disadvantaged, or wanting to stop, hatred towards other people, or this or that, or anything that's sort of the right thing. What difference does it make what you're by dividing out in this way? Right, you could almost see how it creates itself. So if everyone who, if the way in which the message is brought about the right thing to do, like this is the right thing to do, people are unemployed, they have no way of getting money, we have to extend unemployment. It was if that has to be described by a person who if that is only spoken of as the right thing to do by someone who's appealing, who themselves is very sensitive to it, how could people not care? Well, then you could see how if it's not an objectively based, if it has something to do with how they feel about it, right? And they're right. There would be some other type of person who's like more like he's more of a jerk who doesn't want to listen to the political proposals of the other people because they're these sort of like overly sensitive types. I mean, you can see how the two wings of it create each other in the population. Like there's neither one lives in reality, in the sense that these aren't issues that have to do with your psychological emotional state. It just, or whether or not you care at all about anything, it just has to do with right and wrong, common sense, and logic. So in other words, like a person like me, I'm often perceived to have a mean sense of humor, to joke about things that aren't funny, to not be concerned enough about every single awful thing by a type of person who like is using that's their political thing, that has to do with themselves, apparently, that no one is sensitive enough. Then there's the other one who's basically some kind of jerk, or like someone, and that's their politics comes out of that. I don't know what this is. I don't want to live in a place like that because it's all narcissistic. No, there's just one reality, and then there's logical things like you can't raise the minimum wage. Oh wait, when the economy is this way, and the no, what you'll have is some kind of you need to extend unemployment in some sense. I don't know if it's possible, but it has to be available sort of constantly until there's structural changes to the economy. So there needs to be constant federal assistance and constant concern with the people who are structurally have nothing to do, and even if they did it, couldn't feed themselves. So we have to look at it and say, what do we do? Well, we're going to have to extend tons of federal aid. That's the only way to do it. Make sure, like at all times, we're thinking of the fact that there's that big a population structurally removed from being able to support themselves and their family. That's all. Now, is that because I care or because I don't care? Because no, it's just that's logical if you live in economic reality. I cannot accept people because I've been abused by both. They're both sick. They're both sick is what it is. The liberal, the conservative, whatever this is, they're both sick, and I've taken abuse from both of them. They're both abusive in their own way. They're both people I don't want near me. I don't want anyone who is dividing in these categories. And the very fact that you can see when you meet one, it's they mention their sort of things come up in conversation immediately that would indicate that they're affiliated with one cult or the other one of this way of seeing things. The minute you meet someone, they're going to tell you something. One of these people, very shortly after conversing with them, they'll drop in something that would indicate, oh, I see, you're part of that cult, the cult of liberalism. He's part of that cult. That's the cult of conservatism. Like I don't. There's only one reality, but I don't like any of these type of people that divide out that way. The very fact that they're dividing as though there's more than one reality bothers me. The way they're perceiving two different realities about which there can be disagreement. That's what Carl Schmitt says is actually what's going on in a society like ours. That there's some type of thing where people don't know there's one reality, but think that through constant arguing and dialogue, maybe they can reach what they call consensus, as though there's two competing pictures of reality. I want to live in a country like that.